These running backs and these receivers put on a show. Let's go. Let's go. So, pre-draft cycle in November, I knew that this receiver class was going to be special. But even I couldn't predict this. This was historically special from the way that these athletes ran, not just the receivers, but the running backs. I even liked the way that the quarterbacks that did show up and competed. I like the way that Michael Penix threw the ball. You know, he had kind of a questionable Senior Bowl. He goes out, he spins it all around the yard. I like the way that JJ McCarthy threw the ball. I like his footwork. Like, there is a lot to talk about. We're going to recap the combine. These are my combine standouts. Day 3, receivers and running backs. Obviously, the quarterback. I like Spencer Rattler. Like, those guys did some nice things in the drill work. But we got to talk about these running backs, and we have to talk about these receivers. So I'm going to start with the running backs first. I think because the tackle class and the receiver class is so deep, which I do have the receiver class rated a little bit over the tackle class, and I'll explain how that ties into the Cowboys and what they could possibly do in any team looking for a weapon. I mean, there's going to be a Puka Nacua type in this draft late. Just get ready because some of these guys are going to get lost in the shuffle. But the running backs, Blake Corum, 4.53, that's great speed for him. I mean, he's obviously a shorter guy, but choppy, ran hard. The drill work looked outstanding. Marshawn Lloyd, 4.46. We got to have a conversation at some point. And he was on my Foot's favorites. Sky loves him. And all he does is run like that. We got to have a conversation. Trey Benson, 4.39. Confirmed RB1. Jalen Wright, I think he was a 4.39 as well. These running backs put on a nice show. They went through drill work smoothly. I think that they ran routes smoothly. This running back class is not the dud class that people think, and I think people really need to rethink the running back position because a guy like Blake Corum is going to make a football team better and tougher. You hear him, just hearing him say to Harbaugh, "Coach, I'll still run through a wall for you." I mean, that's the type of stuff, and he believes that part of it. Like, he played that way. You saw against Alabama, he tapped Alabama out. And then I got to take a deep breath because when I watch these receivers, obviously the headliner, and shout out to Xavier Worthy. Now, I got to go back because I look like an idiot because, I had questions about his route running. But when you talk about speed, and there's going to be a GM and a team that's going to say, we can recreate what the Dolphins have in Waddle and in Tyreek Hill. It's going to happen. Xavier Worthy, you can pencil it in. Take this first round right there. It's gone. He's gone. He's going to be in the first round, and I've already heard in circles and it's being in talks that he'll probably be a top 4 or 5 receiver, which means some of the guys who also did perform well will get pushed back because corner, receiver, or stopwatch positions. OCs around the league will say, I can find a role for this guy. Can he play or not? That's not on us to determine. We watch the film, but it's the OC and the coaching staff and the team to say, hey, what will be his role? If his role is just taking the top off defenses, there are teams who still believe in that. Speed, the long ball, people, that's what it is. So obviously the headliner is Xavier Worthy. But then 40 pounds heavier, the next fastest person at the draft was Brian Thomas Jr., and he's 40 pounds heavier than Xavier Worthy. Crazy, right? Adonai Mitchell, a half of a second, a tenth of a second, whatever. I'm not the super sophisticated. He's a 4.34 guy. I got to go back to the film on him because I definitely did have Keon Coleman ahead of him, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm going to switch the two, but that speed at his height, 6'2", he did measuring at 6'2". He wasn't 6'4" like I thought. He did measuring at 6'2". That speed at his height is something that I think that Cowboys fans, they need to understand. You have a needed receiver. It's highly unlikely that you bring Michael Gallup back. You have a need. Brandon Cooks is not in your long-term plans. you have a need. And this class might be the gym to just get what you need, get the guy that you need in this class, pair him with CD, and you keep it moving. Xavier Leggett, 439. Roman Wilson, 439. Troy Franklin, 441. Lad McConkey, 439. And obviously Keon Coleman, 461. When I talk about all of these athletes, the one that you guys are going to want to hear me explain is Keon Coleman. But when I think about Keon Coleman, the one thing that I loved about it, he's a bigger athlete. 4'6" is fast enough, but the gauntlet, he got up to, I think, 21 miles an hour when he ran his gauntlet. And the catch and the way he ran routes looked smooth. He ushered the ball in. I really like that. So Keon Coleman is still very high on my board, but I got to be honest, the way that all of these guys performed, I would take Keon Coleman still at pick 24. I don't know if the Cowboys would, looking at the measurables of some of these guys and how they would want to use them. I mean, you just can't argue with some of these numbers. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. I thought that somebody who, honestly, two players that I was, and I'm not going to say I was down on, but I thought that Bucky Irvin would be faster. And Audric Estime was in fullback territory. I knew he wasn't a fast guy on film, but, I mean, that was flat out slow. Like a 4.7. I mean, there was some offensive linemen who were running that fast. So, all in all, recapping this thing, man, you see the way that these athletes move. You see the way that these guys can play in space. You see the way that these athletes look. You cannot tell me that I know the old linemen, it's very important. Trenches are extremely important. Don't get me wrong. And the news coming out about the linemen, I won't say that it doesn't help with losing Tyron Smith, because what it does is it puts in Cowboys fans that you have to get a tackle high. And I'll be honest with you, I just don't believe that. I just, if you have one of these guys rated higher than the fifth rated tackle, I don't know if I want to do that as an evaluator and just pass on the guy because I need a tackle, because that's how you flame out. This team still can afford to go best player available. And if it's me, I'll be honest, my three positions that I'm going: receiver, running back, linebacker. It's your boy Foots the King as always. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing. This draft is going to be one of the more interesting drafts that we've had in a long time, and I just can't wait. Peace. Oh, and one more thing before I go. You have this with these receivers, these guys, and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors didn't even compete today. This class is unreal, man. All right, now I'm really